Good day, everyone. The name is Ruben Balogun, and I am from the Dream Team. And well, this is our pitch for our proposed solution. So, those on my team are Jennifer Ojosoya, Triumph and Precious, Chukwemeka Okorafor, and Nakilichi. And this is our problem. This is the problem we decided to tackle. Where we know smallholder farmers in rural villages in Nigeria face severe information gap due to a critical shortage of extension agents. These extension agents work in tandem with the farmers to provide information or new ways to deal with pests, or the case may be global warming, as rain patterns change, as weather patterns change overall, and things just move really quickly when it comes to the environment around us. And then these extension agents bridge that gap and make information available for said people and make them know how to go about raising their crops so as to minimize uh, poor harvests. And this is under agriculture because it's a grand challenge, it's a great opportunity. And yes, we decided as a former front of a very, very large well of exports for Nigeria. I mean, it has to be revived and it has to be made to be as wonderful as it used to be. And this is why it matters. So meet Adeola. Adeola would be our person, someone that we can relate to, someone that is ground level. Adeola is a 42-year-old small farmer in the rural village of Saki zone in Oyo State. She, farms maize and cassava, of which, she gets some to eat to feed the family, and then others of which she could sell. And when pests attack the soil and, she has bad harvests during a certain period, she can't get her family the things that she usually supplies, all due to pests or even weather conditions, or just the soil does run out of nutrients over a large when it has been overfarmed over a large period of time. And then they are manure, but I mean, people do not know which type of manure to use and sometimes how to apply it. And without proper information, she could lose half of her harvest, up to half of her harvest, and sometimes even more than half of her harvest. And this impacts them terribly. And we would like to change that. The Dream Team would like to change that. This is what it has looked in the last 2 decades, more than 2 decades, even almost about 4 decades, of which it has just been a steady decline or a steady increasing ratio of farmers to extension agents. In 1980, we had a 2,500 extension agents to one farm to one, sorry, 2,500 farmers to one extension agent. In 1995, it was a little smaller, it got better. 1997, there was a little bit of an increase. In 2003, a little bit of an increase. And then in 2015, there was a large jump. 2019 too didn't fare any better, and there was another jump. And then in 2024, there was a massive jump. Now, we do not have data that corresponds for 2025 and 2026, but I do believe if we look at the trend, we do believe that extension agents are getting fewer by the number. The ratio of extension agents to farmers is just increasing, and I do not think that can work fine for anybody. And if compared to the global average, we're about 12.5 times worse. Because the global average, if we take Mexico for a case study, it's 1 per 800. So they have one extension agent per 800 farmers in a place like Mexico. And I do not believe their population is as packly dense as ours. And here we are having this more farmers to extension agents. And This is a chart showing the information blackouts that the extension agents, the lack of extension agent causes, of which 94% have zero access to an extension agent. Even though the ratio is 1 to 10,000, this is assuming that this 10,000 do decide to converse with a single extension agent. But the reality is they don't, they do not. And this has continued over time and just keeps increasing. And like I said, following the trend, we do believe that in 2026, it is progressively worse. And the cost of silence has caused a lot of loss of income because people or farmers lose a lot during harvest and thereby cannot make enough money to probably continue said lifestyle or said farming that they already lost. And this is with the chart, as you can see in the baseline of no failure, we have about 981. Yeah. And with minor failure or 40% loss, we have 589 per year, $589 per year as a baseline income. For moderates, where we have 50% loss, we have a $491. For a severe loss, it's 392. And with extension, if we can get like an extension in, if we have more extension agents in the baseline income of guided crop failure, of which you could reduce it drastically. And what is our proposed solution? Our proposed solution is an agro-voice. It is a voice first agricultural social ecosystem. It is it's a program, it's an app, it's a product where farmers can talk first, since say a good bunch of them are illiterate. We are taking it as they are illiterate, and they have to use their voice or take pictures to say, oh, okay, this is what I'm going through. Who can assist, who has gone through this, or who knows the right way to go through this. And there will definitely be agents on said program, said app, said product that can also converse or drop their opinions on what the farmers would need. And this will actually assist them in making better, more informed decisions on what to do. And it's effective because, AgroVoice always provides 24/7 peer-to-peer knowledge because someone has already dropped what they feel will be the best knowledge as at the time that has worked for them. And someone could always go back and check that and then get the latest information or good information that will work for them. And because, like I said, because it's voice first, we remove the need to read or type in complex technical terms. They could just say it in what their language is, and then it goes fine. And these are pictures of what our wireframes look like. Over here we have the language pick, where you pick your language on the far left, and this is the sign up or the sign in page, and this is where we have a fill-in because we need to know whether you're an extension agent or a farmer, and we need to have something to converse you with and to know how to arrange the farmers based on where they are, where they need to be. And once we get that, it's straight chatbots to peer knowledge. It's just you share your knowledge, you share what you have, or you just ask, or you ask the bot to curate based on what people have already dropped to give you a response or a type of reasonable advice on how to go about your prompt. Now, these are the user needs and pain points. We have visual clutter and navigation confusions because we found out during our initial wireframing that users found the initial layout a little too bundled with too many features because it was asking for too many things. And then people could not initially identify what the primary navigation was. Another pain point was feature ambiguity. There were some features that some farmers or some people could not accurately say, okay, this is what the feature did, because it didn't have an explicit label. It was just a big sign and it was an icon, and they couldn't say this was that and this was that. So we decided to push in some changes, and we decided to make our information, visual information, much more simplified. So there's not a lot going on the screen. You can see exactly what you're doing. You've got like 2, 3, 4 things that you need to see at the same time, and it's not too cluttered where you have to now start picking what is what. Where we implemented standardized self-explanatory icons to make sure everybody knows the general icons and what, when you see a big microphone, oh, okay, this is for voice. When you see the camera sign, okay, this is for the camera. And we are transitioning from wireframes to hierarchy artifacts to better reflect the technical maturity of this program, so as to still trust in the user base. And next year, for the milestone 1, we're hoping that in the first 3 months we're able to completely revolutionize our natural language processing for the Nigerian dialects and the Nigerian languages, because we do want these farmers to be able to speak in whatever natural dialects that they do have, and for people to be able to understand, as well as give information or give their own honest opinion on what the problem or what the solution could be. In the next 3 months after that, we do hope to have deployed 20 solar panel Wi-Fi green hubs, because this program or this app, this product, will require internet access. And we do know that in the far reaches of society where these farmers live and thrive, there's not much internet activity going on. There's not much network for internet activity. So we shall provide that, a hub for these farmers to, have access to uninterrupted internet, so they could receive their information without the need for an active human being on site. And 3 months after that, we hope to onboard an initial 2,000 farmers, in the Oyo-Ondo agricultural corridor. This is a very vast arable land, of which we would love if the initial 2,000 farmers could help us stress test and use this program and see the benefits, and then be able to recommend to the other farmers. And by December, we hope to have gained an additional 8,000 farmers in the Oyo-Ondo agricultural corridor. The reason why we're doing this is, as stated before, we want to close the 1 to 10,000 farmer extension gap. We need to make sure that the agents are close enough to give good information that is timely and then is relevant in that period of time, for the farmers to be able to work regardless of whatever maybe pests, maybe soil nutrients deprivation, maybe the weather. But we just do want our farmers to be able to have good harvests and make food available for everyone, because if our farmers stop working, who are we to get food if we aren't farming? And as we replace the text with voice, videos, and pictures, and ensure that the lack of formal education is no longer a barrier, this is how we curb a little bit of the problem. And then we're turning every successful farmer into its own virtual extension agent, because some people have tips and tricks that work consistently for them and in places that they have been, and to ensure that geographical isolation is no longer a means to lack guidance. And this was what birthed our idea. We did have an initial solution where we had an offline first AI bots orchestrator. This was the initial point, but then we decided to evolve it into a crowdsourced social media app where different farmers could pull in their own rather than just talking to a, an information gatherer. And Pivot ensured that we used, natural language processing to make sure that these men or women can talk without thinking about what their dialect is or what their language is and still get results and solutions for whatever problem that they may have or information that they do want to disseminate. Thank you for listening, and I do hope we all remember Adiola. We want to make her smile and we want to make her bring food for family. Thank you for listening.